Joining me right now is American Top Team representative Hayder Hassan. What's going on? Welcome to Kumite Radio.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Excited to do it.
For sure, man. Now, I wanted to get into first is American Top Team. That is your home. It's been your home for many, many years. A lot of fighters nowadays, they're jumping around, moving to different gyms. What makes you stay at your home?
Well, one, I'm a Floridian. I was born and raised in South Florida. So to have American Top Team in my backyard was a huge blessing in my career. Once I finished college and I was working full time. I was working in the healthcare industry, and then actually I saw Thiago Alves. He knocked out Matt Hughes with that flying knee, and my brother, my brother Mehdi, he fights light heavyweight. He'll be fighting soon. He actually got me into the sport. You know, he played college football at Georgetown, and he was always like, if I don't make it to the NFL, I'm gonna fight. So he had just finished at one of the national combines for the NFL, and we had this opportunity to go to ATT, and I literally just saw Pitbull knock out Hughes, and that Saturday and that Monday I came to the gym, and I was able to see like all these badasses, man, and it was awesome. I've been an athlete my whole life, and so I missed that part of me. You know, after college, in college I was just doing school, and then after work I was just working. So to get back in those competitive vibes and start working hard, it just reignited all those passions, man. So honestly, I wouldn't be where I'm at today without the depth at American Top Team. You know, I never had any amateur fights. All my fights were in the gym at American Top Team. You know, I remember when I had to make the pro team, I was pretty much put in a gauntlet versus like the top dudes. It was rounds with Thiago Silva, then Wilson Gouveia, then Alessio Sakara, and then Danilo Villafort, just Shark Tank, one after the, you know, and they just wanted to see if I would quit. You know, how do you take pressure? And I walked out of there with like two black eyes, a coconut on my head, but it was like one of the best days of my life. And I asked for more, man. So 8 months later, I had my first pro fight and knocked the guy out in 9 seconds, and the rest is history. So ATT has been my second home, my second family, and I'll always rep ATT.
You said that you were in the healthcare industry. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So after I graduated college, I was working with a pharmaceutical company. I was in pharmaceutical sales, and I worked for hospitals nationwide and got there all of their hard to find products, from anywhere from like blood products to you name it. My goal was to, you know, work for like an orthopedic device company or a heart company like Medtronic or Johnson and Johnson. That was like my scholarly approach. Kind of have to do what everyone, I guess, do what you're supposed to. I come from like an Arab family, Arab culture, so education is highly stressed. My father's a retired physician. My mom has her doctorates. My sister's a doctor. You know, uncles are doctors. So that was my number one obligation, was to finish school. So to be able to, I guess, do one thing that I figured I had to do, and now I'm doing what I love to do. So it's blessings, man.
Now, you shot onto the scene. Tough 21, American Top Team versus the Black Zillions. Do you agree that put you on the map that season, because you had some spectacular performances?
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, that opportunity, it was that season 21 was an amazing opportunity for me. I always knew what skills I had. It was just waiting for that opportunity that I could go out there and showcase what I can do to the world. And I was extremely fortunate, very blessed to go out there and perform, bang out those quick 3 fights. You know, unfortunately, when I in the finale, it wasn't my night. If I could do it back, I would have changed my training camp. I went into that fight just beat up, overtrained. But it's part of the learning cycle. It's part of your growth. And you know, my losses in the UFC were kind of what made me the fighter I am. You know, you always learn from your trials and tribulations. And You know, to tell you the truth, my 2 fights in the UFC were my 2 worst fights of my career. Um, but I going in, I just knew that going to fights injured and not ready, not healthy, that it happens, man. But I know I'm a dangerous fighter, and I can give anybody in the world a run for their money.
Yeah, you proved that, time and time again. During that season, what was your most memorable moment? Because there was some, that season was unique since your team was there the whole time. So when you won, your team gets to celebrate with you. I love that aspect of that season.
Yeah, I thought it added a lot of really nice dynamics to the show. Also having that big rivalry with the gym, just like 1 or 2 miles down the road. So it was awesome, man. It was a perfect recipe for Showtime TV, man. My favorite moment probably was winning the whole thing. I mean, obviously, I had a great KO on the show. It was it was a KO of the season, and then just going in there, 3 fights in 17 days, fighting injured, and just going out there and leaving all on the line. It was one of those gut check moments. How bad do you want it? How far can you push it? And not many people get to experience that. So like to come out to come out with my hand raised, I was blessed, man.
Yeah, like you said earlier, you had, a few fights in the UFC. They didn't go your way. After that, 2016, you were out for the whole season. Or not whole season, but you were out for the whole year. What was going on in that time?
Yeah, so once I got out of the UFC, I needed a little reset. Uh, I had uh, I had 5 fights in a year, 6 fights in 14 months. So it was a lot. My body was banged up. I ended up breaking a rib, and that rib kind of put me on hiatus for a little bit. But I was fortunate to get back, go to the drawing board. Um, Focus on some holes that were in my game. A lot of my fights, I relied on my athleticism and my power. And now I'm fighting guys that are high level fighters. And the little gaps in your game are, if you haven't dotted your I's and crossed your T's, you can get exposed. So that's what I was fortunate enough to do. I surrounded myself with the best coaching staff at ATT, and I was able to learn from my mistakes and just kind of get back to the drawing board, getting back to what I do best, and that's bringing the pressure and throwing bombs.
You returned to the Ultimate Fighter, which is very rare for the redemption season.
Yeah.
Now, that season was very interesting because I think a lot of people started watching the Ultimate Fighter because of that, right? Because you guys are returning. The dynamic was different. Um, Now, when you look back at that season, what did you learn most?
Actually, what was awesome about that season? Although I didn't go as far, I got eliminated against Jesse Taylor. But it was the best growth I've ever had. Uh, so for myself, like, I was really able to really focus on some details, my wrestling game, uh, my defense, and also I had mistakes that I was doing in fights that I didn't know how costly they were, and I made those costly mistakes against guys that if you make those mistakes, they're going to make you pay for it, and it took me learning that to learn I can't do those mistakes because against those high level fighters, if you do that, it's going to cost you a couple minutes of you trying to get out of it, and those couple minutes you're losing rounds. So it was an amazing blessing, man. I was able to work really good with Danny Castillo from Team Alpha Male. He really helped my wrestling game, um, takedown defense and good wall presence. Uh, so I left this season with my head high. I really developed as a fighter, as a man. So I was excited for what was next.
So what was next was a big fight against Roger Huerta at Phoenix FC4. You were DQ'd for some elbows, right? Now, when you look back and watch that fight again, in my opinion, you were winning that fight. You were doing great. You were performing. You landed the harder shots. It's just unfortunate situation. What did you think about that situation?
Yeah, man. I was super excited to fight Roger Huerta. I'm a big fan of his game. I'm a fan of guys that go out and fight. And he's a fighter. So I was excited to go out there and fight someone who has the same mental perspective as myself. Someone who enjoys a good scrap. Um, I thought I was winning the fight. It was just a matter of time before I landed clean and the fight was over. You know, One thing that he did well in that fight was he came out and he fought me southpaw. In none of his fights he had previously fought in southpaw. He might have switched southpaw, throw a kick or there, kick here, but then he predominantly fought orthodox. Um, so when he came out southpaw, I didn't train against any southpaws. So it took me a little bit of time to find my distance and my range. But if I had trained against southpaws, I think I would have KO'd him in the first round. I wouldn't have had to find my distance, kind of took my time a little bit more than I wanted to. But he's a crafty veteran, man, and hey, man, heads up to him. I just saw that he's fighting Benson Henderson for Bellator. That my respect to him, man. Anytime you've had a storied career like that, long veteran, you faced your trials and tribulations, you've been knocked down, you've gotten back up, man. God bless him, man. He's paid his dues. He earned it, man. But as far as the elbow, the elbows, the majority of them were clean. I think it was the last one or two as he was moving his head. I caught him on the back of the head, and it was just the last one I threw ended up slicing his head open, and it gave him a pretty nasty cut. And once the referee saw it, he had to stop the fight. The referee told me if the cut wasn't there, they would have continued the fight. But unfortunately, because of the cut, there was nothing I could do about it. I didn't think I was going to get disqualified. I was hoping it would be a no contest because it wasn't intentional. But they saw it a different way, and it is what it is. As far as our conversation during afterwards, I was apologizing, and I was saying, hey, bro, I didn't mean to do it. But he was kind of throwing sour grapes, calling me a dirty fighter. And I'm like, dude, why would I do that intentionally when I just cost myself a win bonus, all my hard work down the drain, and but he was upset, he won. He got a win bonus. He's on to greener pastures. And even after the fight, he was kind of sour about it. But he said we could do a rematch. So I was excited for the rematch, and I told him awesome, man. So I was excited for the rematch, but he ended up signing with Bellator, which is he don't want to fight me again, man. The next time I fought him, I would have taken him out in one round, at the most two rounds. But hey, man, everything happens for a reason, bro. Now I know. I won't go crazy trying to finish someone with elbows there. I'll punish them, switch it to hammer fists and replace underhook and get out. So
You
another.
you stayed
Yeah.
pretty calm for somebody that was being called a dirty fighter in the cage. Because when you watch it, you're just kind of explaining yourself, and you're very calm, very surprising.
Yeah, man, because I've seen it before. You saw when Travis Brown fought, what's his face? It was the same situation. Quick, short elbows, that caught him. The first elbow I threw, I felt his legs wobble, and I felt his equilibrium. So I had him hurt. So I was going for the finish. I should have been a little bit more accurate with my elbows just to make sure. But now I learned I'll never go. I won't call it reckless, but I went for the finish, and we were in the heat of battle, man. So it's hard to. You throw 7 elbows, 5 out of the 2 land clean, 2 don't. It's a moving target, so it's hard, man. It's a really crappy situation, man. I was pretty pissed off about it, which is kind of why I wanted to get back in there and erase this negative with the positive, and get back in the cage as soon as possible.
For sure, that is a topic, because recently the Jeremy Stevens fight, he hit him with elbows, and a lot of people are saying that hit the back of the head a few times. The guy was moving for takedowns, and it's to me, I believe, in my opinion, if you're moving and you get hit in the back of the head, it's a part of the battle.
Yeah, man, it's so hard to accurately. You're throwing, he's throwing, your guy's moving his head. I mean, even Brad Pickett, he was like, man, those are elbows that you just can't you can't stop. You're throwing. You're fighting. You know. Yeah, it was a crappy situation, dude.
Now
I
you
def-
got now you get a second chance. You know what I mean? Like you have a co-main event spot against Pavel Kusch, who is a very dangerous fighter at Phoenix FC6 on April 5th, right? Now,
Correct.
what do you think about this guy? Because you never take any easy fights. You're taking all the hard ones.
Bro, I've never had an easy fight in my career, man. I since my third pro fight, man, my third pro fight, I was fighting in Strikeforce. You know, I never had any amateur fights, bro. You know, I've been fighting every fight, sink or swim. You know, so like, I think that's why I've gotten the depth that I think that's why I'm at the skill level I am, because I don't take easy fights, and somehow easy fights don't find me. Everyone's tough in this game. I like fighting strikers, man. I like fighting guys that want to fight. I think Pavel is he's a high level grappler, man. I think 22-4 with 19 submissions. He's a heel hook footlock expert. I'm training with some high level grapplers at my gym, so that I know when I'm in dangerous situations, so I can really watch the positioning of my feet, of my ankles, so that I can really eliminate what he does good. And his 4 losses are by KO. So I'm gonna be testing that chin, and God willing, all it takes is just one.
A lot of people are expecting a fight of the year, which means that it's going to be a back and forth type of, fight. Do you expect that? Do you expect the back and forth, or do you expect to just go in there and just run this guy over?
Um, Man, you know, it could go either way, man. I can get out there, get inside, catch him real quick in this fight. I see both, man. I see me getting inside, hitting him with the quick combo and the fight being over. And I also see trying to tie me up, trying to get. He's a single leg and body lock guy, looking to keep the fight close, tie you up, inside leg trip, take you down, and work his grappling. So I see him trying to I don't see him trying to stand with me. I really see him trying to make this fight as sticky as possible. I see him trying to close the gap, and try and have him tie me up. If that happens, I'm prepared for it. You know, I have a feeling that once I'm able to stop his takedowns, you know, he might try and pull guard, try and tie me up and pull guard, you know, so he can attack the legs. But I'll be ready, man. You know, first round, second round, or third round, I'm going to be throwing grenades. You know, you only have a certain number of certain amount of energy when you're trying to do those big throws, big takedowns. You're trying to attack for the legs. That saps your body like crazy. So he's only going to have a certain, you know, like those video games when a guy goes turbo mode. You can only go turbo mode so many times before before you have to reset, and you don't have as much power as you did. So as long as I keep I fight smart, focus on what he's going to try and do what I do best. My hand should be raised when the fight's all said and done.
Yeah, Phoenix, it seems like they are more focused on the guys that perform better, not really the results of the fight. And they're bringing you back because of your performance in your last fight. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, man. I tell you what, man. It was an awesome blessing to fight for Phoenix. Most importantly, I had a really great experience just fighting in the Middle East. You know, I've never fought in the Middle East. My brother had fought in Dubai when I was on the Ultimate Fighter, the first one. We actually fought one day apart. He had a first round KO, and I ended up fighting the next day against Andrews Nakahara on the Black Seasons, and I ended up knocking him out in the first round. So it was awesome, dude. It was great energy. But yeah, man, it was just great, man. All the fighters, majority of the fighters are Arabs. So to be around your same peer, same culture, speak the same, it was awesome, man. You know, majority of the times, you know, a lot of times you fight in the States, a lot of rednecks, you know, so so this was cool to be surrounded by your same culture and your peers. So it was an amazing experience, man.
Phoenix is a new promotion. They're growing fast. They're bringing in huge names, such as yourself. Where do you see yourself, because there's no titles yet. Do you see yourself fighting for a welterweight title by the end of the year?
Yeah, you know, they told me I win this fight, I'll fight for the title.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a big fight. You know, this has a lot of weight to it. You know, every fight I've ever had has had a lot of weight to it. You know, I've the first Black Seasons finale I fought for $200,000, and then the winner got for 300,000. And then for this past season, the winner fights for 300,000 for the redemption season. So I fought for big fights, big money. I know what it feels like to have that pressure on your back. So I'm gonna be ready, man. You know, I'm whether it's this title or whatever comes next, man. You know, I'm gonna take this fight one at a time, and just be ready to go, man.
April 5th,
Yeah,
Phoenix
man.
XC6 against
Yeah,
Pavel Kusch, man. Huge fight. I'm excited for this one because I know what you bring. I know what he brings. It's going to
thanks.
be insane. Thank you for
Thanks,
your
bro.
time.
I appreciate you, man. God bless, bro.